I graduated, I kind of did like a forecast of my finances and realized there was no way to live in the state of California on the amount of money I was making. So I had to leave, or I would end up homeless, basically. But then something weird happened, and everyone decided to move out of California at exactly the same time. So I couldn't even find a U-Haul or a Penske truck or any of them. Then I saw this listing online for a 44-foot school bus. And I was like, this is it. We bought the school bus, and now we have to make it legal for us to take the school bus across the country. Rule number 1, it can't be a yellow school bus. But then unfortunately, once I painted it white, I realized it looked like a prison bus. And then the next step would be to rip all of the seats out. And I put a hitch on it so that I could pull my car with the school bus. We had 7 days to get there, 3 of which we actually drove. The other 4, we didn't go anywhere. When we set out on the trip, the first day, it was cool and it was nighttime. And the car was on the back, the bus was fully loaded down, and me and my roommate were in the bus. And we're driving and everything is fine. But then the school bus started to overheat. The temperature gauge was pinned. So we pulled over and then we let it cool back down. And I was like, okay, we'll drive it again. It starts overheating. There's a truck stop in Barstow we pull into, and for 2 days we were like, what do we need to do to fix it? I was trying to look up what the part would be. How do I need to fix this? What's going on with it? Is the water pump bad? I bought a water pump. We've been here for 3 days trying to figure this out. We've lived at a truck stop for 3 days, eating nothing but Wendy's for 3 days. Finally, I just say, I can't figure this out right now, on the fly. I have no internet to do that. I can't figure it out. I just drove it to the truck stop mechanic, and he said the radiator has probably never been cleaned. And I was like, that can't be it. That's too easy. When this guy hits this thing with air, it creates a dust cloud. The poor guy comes out and he's just covered in dust. He's like, test it out. We got in the bus, we start driving, and it worked. We're going through Texas, and the weather report comes up and says, hey, there's a storm coming, seek shelter, whatever. It starts to rain, and then I see a trickle of water that's kind of running down me and coming back, and I was like, oh. And then that trickle of water started to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I realized I'm gonna have to move. About 40 seconds after I discovered that, it is opening up, the weather is. It came up so quick that it started rising on the level of the tires. I got the bus started, and then I went to go and put it in gear, and it wouldn't go. I was like, what? Why is it not going? The car that was attached to the back of it had sunk down into mud and water that had brought in this. It was like suctioned in. So I had to hammer and floor it on this bus to pull the car out, and the car almost didn't get pulled out, and I almost lost the car that I brought with me. And then the blinkers went wrong halfway through the trip, so I didn't have blinkers. When we first crossed into Tennessee, first off, I was like, we've done it, we've made it, which was a little preemptive. The hardest part was the very last hill on a road called Indian Creek, which it basically goes like this. The bus was going walking pace, and I didn't think it was even going to make it up the hill. It was inching along, and I was like, this is not going to make it. But somehow it did. And then when we rounded the corner and I recognized the house, I was like, that's it. We've made it. When you finally accomplish it and you look back at how crazy and dumb it was, you kind of have this self-reflection of like, I did that. And then it's like, what else can I do? And then it kind of incites a little bit of a fire in you to challenge yourself, because it's kind of addictive to realize you've done something that's really difficult or that you might not have ever been able to do. But I think the biggest piece of advice is trust yourself, because you can do it. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it.